Well, Tracy, it is really, really good to see you. Today's technically the Monday after Easter. How
Right.
are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I had 1 day of rest. That was awesome.
Well, as people that don't know you, it'll be interesting. That'll make that comment will make a lot of sense. So, yeah, Tracy, you and I have just gotten to know each other through a very good friend, Becky Ratliff, who's chairman. But for Tracy, for those that don't know you and what you do, introduce yourself and the company.
Absolutely. So I'm Tracy Eubanks. I'm the CEO at Metrocrest Services. I've been the CEO for about 7 years. I was on the board for many years before that. I live in Carrollton, so I live in the area in which we serve. And Metrocrest Services, just to make sure I don't forget to say it, serves residents of Coppell, Carrollton, Farmers Branch, Addison, and a small piece of Dallas. And we've been doing that for, I guess we're in our 49th year. 2021 will be our 50th year. And so doing this for a long time, and we're here to help families in need. Typically, those families are families that need help with rent assistance or some kind of crisis. And this is pre-COVID, of course, but our mission is help you with a crisis. You can't pay your rent. Your water's been turned off. You're a senior with no food. We help with that crisis, and then we also help with things like financial literacy. Let's create a budget, a spending plan. Let's look at your credit score and so forth. And then we also help with finding jobs. So we want to help you improve your income. We'll help send you back to college, to the community colleges to get a certification. We'll help you with your GED. So it's a self-sufficiency type model that's worked for a very long time. Of course, with recent events in the last month or so for us, we really are focused on what we'd call those emergency basic services.
Wow, yeah. So 50 years next year, you're in the 49th year. So that's absolutely amazing and beautiful and wonderful. Obviously, we're gathered here on this conversation to specifically talk about COVID-19, the pandemic, how that has affected lots of businesses and your service. So it's a really obvious question, but many people may not understand the impact. But with the pandemic that has hit, and I guess we're kind of technically in this kind of week 3 of shelter in place, how has this impacted Metrocrest Services?
Sure. I think every day is a little bit different, it seems like. Every day is a new normal for us. Well, we made a commitment early on that we were going to be able to try to do two things, that we would do two things. One of which was we were not going to lay off or furlough any employees. We could have done that. We felt like that was kind of going against the grain of what we're all trying to accomplish. And so we're in a position where we can find quality work for everybody that is here. And because we're so busy, it's not hard to find quality work for everybody that's here. And so we want to make sure we're taking care of our employees first. The other thing we had to change a bit was we rely a lot on volunteers. On any given year, we utilize about 5,000 volunteers. We have 50 employees, but a lot of volunteers. We had to immediately relook at volunteers, and we were discouraging at-risk population from volunteering. So a lot of our regular volunteers are typically retirees. So they kind of decided to stay home, which is great. And so now we utilize about 20 volunteers a day. We want to make sure we keep them safe. We take their temperature and so forth. So first, we wanted to make sure that we took care of the people that were going to be doing the serving. And then we knew we'd see a big increase in those needing to be served. People that probably have never been to us before, that never asked for help before. And so we have seen a dramatic increase in assistance. And so what's changed for us? We've lost the personal touch in terms of interaction, face-to-face interaction with folks because of social distancing, trying to keep everybody safe. So the two things that we're most focused on right now, one is food. So we do operate a food pantry. We've moved that to a mobile drive-through. And so you come to us, you fill out a very basic form. So the paperwork is a lot simpler. We put a week's worth of food with produce and some frozen meat, other items in your trunk. You pop your trunk and you're good to go. We have diapers for those families that have children as well. And we saw this overall the last 4 weeks. We've been measuring for 4 weeks now that are COVID related. We've been up 102%. That's ramped up each week. Last week, we were up 376% just last week versus the same week last year. So we're seeing this ramp up. We're hoping it's going to level off. We can't really, I don't know how we'll handle another 376% increase. But it's hard to tell. There's a lot of folks in need because of all the layoffs, the lack of unemployment benefits that are being paid out at this point. Folks are just struggling. And the people that we serve, which are going to be lower income families without much of a safety net from a financial perspective, are being impacted immediately. The other thing that we're doing is we help with rent assistance. So we will help you stay in your home. There certainly is that no eviction rule in place right now that I think expires in mid-May. So you really cannot be evicted except if you live in a motel. If you live in a motel, you can be evicted because you don't have a lease. And so we would normally, on a given month, help about 70, 80 families avoid eviction. We're real proud of that. This month, we'll exceed 400 families that will help avoid eviction.
Wow.
And while they may not be evicted this month because the landlords have been told you cannot evict, the moment that the no eviction ordinance expires, then everybody's going to be at risk. So our objective is to make sure we're helping families so when we get to the point where they could be evicted, the hole that they're in is not too deep, and we can help them out of that. No one in our community wants folks to be on the street. We don't want more people living in motels. We don't want our children living in cars. And so our purpose is to make sure that doesn't happen. And we believe that will continue at a pretty rapid pace. And that is something that's very expensive for us to do. Everything we're doing now is pretty expensive. And so all the donations we receive are mainly going toward helping with food and helping with rent assistance.
So that's a tenfold increase on folks needing eviction help is what I heard you say.
Yes.
And then year over year for this week, if I heard correctly, you have a 376% increase on just the services like food provided, I believe you said?
Yes, for food. That's correct. Yes.
And so does that mean the amount of food, or is that the amount of families? What does that increase relate to?
That would be both. That is amount
Okay.
of we provide all families about 25 to 30 pounds of food per person per week. So it should equate to about the same on food. The issue that most food pantries are having is finding food. All of our food sources are drying up, just like we all notice as consumers in the grocery store. There's less on the shelf. There's less for us to procure through our normal channels. And so we're having to be creative just to have enough food.
I actually heard on the news this morning there was some, I don't know the name, but there's like a meat packing distribution plant that serves maybe 10% of the nation that is about to close because of COVID.
Yes.
Do you know anything about that? Is that affecting you?
I've heard that from others before today, that not just for meat, but a lot of the milk and produce, a lot of that stuff is so far upstream, it's not making it down to us. When the restaurants started closing, then everybody that provided them meat and provided them produce and so forth, they had excess and they were having to shut down or even destroy product before it ever got here.
Yeah, we've talked to a number of restaurants, and food cost, obviously, labor. I mean, those are their highest cost, and as with the reduction of services and food they're serving, they're just trying to, to just be very, very judicious with the amount of food they're using, obviously, because waste is an expense, and they got to keep it down. So I can see how that would trickle down to your company. So. Wow. Yeah. Are you seeing the differences in the types of people that are asking for help? I mean, to see 17 million people across the nation file unemployment, in a recent amount of time, greatest since like the Depression, it would seem like maybe even some of the faces and types of people that are needing your help are changing. What about that?
Yeah, we've always said the face of poverty is very diverse. It is certainly the case now. Folks that had what I would call white-collar professional jobs at what we would think of as a very good wage are beginning to call us for the first time. They've been laid off. Their hours have been cut. They don't have a safety net. There's so many people, especially in Texas. I think we're 50th in the nation or 49th in terms of number of people that have insurance. So you have a lot of folks that don't have health care. They're losing their health care. They're losing their wages, and they don't have a safety net. And so those folks are beginning to come our way. And so it is a different face of poverty right now.
Mm-hmm.
and it just, the result of COVID and is impacting everybody in the country,
Right. It
everybody in the
sure
world.
is. It sure is. Well, Tracy, I just so appreciate the work that you and the 50 employees are doing. I mean, what an impact that a small amount of people can make. I mean, that is huge. Talking about just, taking something small and blessing a whole bunch. For those that are watching or listening that want to be able to help, either, through donations or just, have something to give, time, treasure, talent, whatever that is, how do they get a hold of you? What's the best way to connect with you guys?
First place would be just go to our website, metrocrestservices.org. You can learn more on the front page. Obviously, it says COVID really large. You click on that and tells you a little bit about what we're doing, some of the recent statistics. We've been asking the community first to give monetarily. It's the simplest way for us then to use those funds to help pay someone's rent to stay in their home and to procure food. We are still utilizing volunteers also from the website. You can set up a profile and we'll send you volunteer opportunities. Again, you need to be comfortable with that. We do practice social distancing. We take your temperature. We provide you a mask, but you need to be comfortable with it. We're using about 15 to 20 volunteers per day to help us deliver services. And then on the website, there should be an urgent needs list. So if you wanted to go shopping for us for those items that we're struggling finding right now, which is a more and more of a problem, that list will list those things we need the most. You can purchase those and drop them off at our location here at 1301 Hutton in Farmers Branch. That should be on our website. And we have a really simple drop-off system so that you don't have to interact with anybody. There's a place to drop off, and we reduce the interactions there. So there's a number of ways to help. Monetary donations have helped the most so far just because that's allowed us to keep people in their home. We're not saying no to our community. Just like we're not saying no to our employees, we're going to keep them employed. We're going to make sure people that come to us, we say yes to help with food and yes to help with rent.
All right. So what's that website one more time, Tracy?
Sure. Metrocrestservices.org.
Great. Well, Tracy, I wish you and the team nothing but the best of luck. Stay safe. Prayers with the work that you guys are doing, and we sure appreciate it and hope that I hope things can slow down in the sense of the need that has to be delivered. And hope you guys get a little rest as well, because it's hard work you're doing, and we appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me today.
All right. You have a wonderful day. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, sir.